Story 1. My dad says I can't see my best friend anymore because she had an abortion, and he thinks I got her pregnant. I didn't. We've been friends for 10 years. She got pregnant recently and had to travel to get an abortion. She posted a video on Instagram 2 months later talking about how difficult it was for her to get an abortion and how frustrating it was for her. My dad saw it and asked me about it a week ago. He said, "I heard your friend was pregnant and had an abortion." I said, "I know." He asked me, "Who was it then?" I said, "I don't know." He rolled his eyes and said, "Sure you don't." I asked him, "Why do you care who it was?" He said, "I know it was you and I don't even care if it was. You're not allowed to hang out with the kind of person who would get an abortion. If I find out you've been around her again, you'll be grounded until you finish high school." Since then, he keeps asking me creepy questions about her. He asked me if I'm the one who took her bikini pictures on Instagram, which I didn't. He asked me if I've ever known of her hooking up at parties. He asked me if I ever look at her Instagram at night. He asked me if her nose ring had a hidden, intimate, or satanic meaning. He talks about her constantly, but also always reminds me I'm never allowed to speak to her again. I told her at school yesterday that we will continue to hang out, but my dad can't find out. Should I just hang out with her and keep it a secret, or should I confront my dad about it? It feels like it's very unfair how he's judging her. I mean, the sad thing is, it sounds like your dad has a pretty ignorant mindset and is not at all open to any kind of reasonable thought, so honestly, since you're in high school and you have to deal with him and put up with him, I personally would probably keep this to myself and keep it secret. Like, I'd hang out with her, but just kind of keep it secret. Like, what your dad is doing, just constantly accusing you and not believing you, that's bad parenting. That sucks, and that's crappy, and I don't like it. Like, he is just wedging a divide between you, and it's not your job to try and make him a better parent. Yeah, you could be open and confront him, but being that, if you're in high school and you're not an adult, you're living with him, he's got control over your life, I don't know that I would risk that kind of stuff with him, honestly. As much as I'm usually for open, good communication, not with people this ignorant. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for coming to dinner basically topless? I've dreaded posting for a while because I'm afraid I might be the a-hole, but I just gotta know. So here goes. My parents-in-law and brother-in-law came to visit and stay for a month with my husband, 27 male, and I, 28 female, after I had my baby. For context, if it makes any difference, I'm German, husband and his family are Italian. The baby was 3 months old at the time, and I breastfeed her. Usually I just nurse on the couch in the living room, but because company was staying, I'd go to my bedroom. After I nursed her, she'd fall asleep, and I'd take a nap, and I'd have some free time. Since family was visiting, I tried to plan her naps around our meal time to spend time with family uninterrupted. My mother-in-law has this thing that when food is on the table, you be there pronto. Sometimes I'd be late coming to a meal because babies can be unpredictable and she wouldn't fall asleep right away or nursed longer than normal. To this, my mother-in-law would barge into my room and announce food was ready, all impatient. This startled the baby and made the process last much longer than it should have. The result is I had to eat much later than everyone else, alone, and the food was cold. It left me fuming. More work to do with the baby, and I'm secluded. This happened several times. I asked my husband to talk to her and explain I can't always come on time. He talked to her, but she still did all this anyway. So I simply decided to stop being late to the dinners. The next time she barged into my room and announced food was ready, I came without hesitation. I came to the table exactly as I was. No shirt, half a bra, baby hanging on one boob. Nothing was seen as the baby's head covered up everything anyway, but still. Ensue uproar. Goes something like, mother-in-law exclaims, "What the hell I'm doing at the table like this? I'm indecent. There are men at the table. I should be ashamed." I yell back, "What the hell does she keep calling me to dinner for if I'm not yet ready? I have no reason to be in my room alone with my baby while everyone else is out having a great time together." Brother and father-in-law are trying not to get in on the argument. Husband ushers me back to my room and scolds me, taking his mother's side. He means he gets frustrated, but this action didn't help anything. But after that, mother-in-law didn't bother again while I was busy with the baby. So what if I came to some meals a little after everyone had started eating? The roof didn't cave in. Anyways, everyone lived happily ever after. The end. Am I the a-hole? Nope, your mother-in-law is an a-hole, and your husband's kind of an a-hole for the way he reacted to that, and didn't further stick up for you. And frankly, you should be able to come to dinner while breastfeeding. It's not a lewd act. It's a natural thing to care for and tend to your child. You're not like coming to dinner and being like, "Hi everybody, how's it going?" No, you're doing a natural thing feeding your baby. You should be fully allowed to come to dinner with a boob out, feeding your baby while you feed yourself, and have a normal conversation with family who isn't so stuck up their own butts that they can't realize that what you're doing is a beautiful natural thing. My gosh, I can't stand people who get all over people who are breastfeeding. Taking care of and raising a baby is hard enough without a-holes like that making it worse. Hey folks, this next story, I glanced over it. Looks like it has some stuff to do with like grooming and pedos and stuff. So if you are uncomfortable with that topic and don't want to hear it, just scroll to the time that my editors put on screen for you here so you can skip this story. Story 3. My daughter, 14 female, just came to me with some disgusting news. I am shocked and upset and don't know what to do. I'm still very good friends with my childhood best friend. We grew up together, we were there through each other's relationships, when we both married, the love of our lives, when we started having children, etc. Our families are very close. She got married and had children a while before I did, so she has older children, one of which is a 21-year-old college boy. I'm practically his aunt and know him very well. The past few days, I could tell my daughter was in an unusual mood, but I didn't think too much of it. Today I went into her room and saw her crying. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she couldn't tell me and to go away. I don't know why, but I got a really bad feeling about the situation and asked to see her phone. She freaked out and started to scream at me. After a while, I got it out of her, and she said that this 20-year-old man has been in contact and talking, texting, calling over the course of the past year. What the F? My daughter was in 8th grade. She gave me more details about the situation and said that he would encourage her to tell him her problems, so they began to form a close relationship. He started telling her that he really loved her and saw her as a little sister, but told her to keep their friendship a secret from me and my best friend, his mom, and our families. Here's what I know about their relationship. He would video call her at night after everyone was asleep, and they would talk into the night. He would often go on rants to her about how they can't have a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship now, and my daughter would not really know what to say. She would just listen. He constantly talks to her about inappropriate things that I don't want her exposed to right now, such as his drinking habits in college and stuff like that. He talks to her about his problems, and I see an issue in this because a lot of his problems in college are nothing a 14-year-old needs to know about. I don't mind her knowing about that stuff, but I would like her to be taught about it in a more responsible way. His friend apparently called her drunk one time and began to say explicit, inappropriate, naughty things to her about both her and my best friend's son. Example, "You suck his D already, girl. I want to vomit." Whenever we have family gatherings, we usually let all of our children hang out together, and my friend's son joins them, and of course we assume he's just a baby sitting and watching over the younger kids. Apparently at gatherings this weekend, he had taken my daughter aside and kissed her on the lips. It was her first kiss. He told her he has feelings for her, but that they can't do anything right now. I'm livid. My daughter feels that she might have feelings for him, but she's also shaken at the same time because she's uncomfortable. Deep down, I know there's something telling her it's not right, hence why she is so upset. She told me she feels like she likes him, but at the same time she doesn't want him to come over anymore. I feel so sick. I feel like a crap parent for letting this happen under my own roof. How could I have let this happen? There is so much more. This is only a small portion of the stuff she's told me, but I think it's pretty much sums up their relationship. I don't know what to feel right now. Part of me wants to go over to my friend's house right now and scream at her son. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, but I really need some advice. I'm going to tell my husband later, and I know he's going to be extremely livid. I don't know what's going to happen with me and my best friend either. I don't know if I care at this point about my relationship with her. I need to get some help for my daughter. I'm also afraid that she's leaving details out. I don't know how bad this is. Sorry, I'm just rambling. My head is spinning right now and I can't get my thoughts together. Edit for more details. I asked her to show me the texts between them, but he apparently made her download this texting app that automatically deletes their conversations each day. He made her do this so that they wouldn't be caught. Alright, first off, message to anyone younger watching, because I know there are some of you who are teenagers who watch me. Don't get involved with older people. I know that it is flattering. It might feel kind of exciting and stuff like that. But do you really want to be interested in someone who's interested in minors? Like that, it's not great, okay? Believe me, they are not great people. It's not a good thing to be doing. Just please avoid it. And if someone's like making you feel uncomfortable, talk to someone you trust, preferably an adult who can do something. As far as for this parent, like, don't feel like a crap parent because something's happening under your own roof. When someone's a teenager, sometimes they rebel, they do stupid things. They're an individual, they're a person. Everyone makes mistakes. And unfortunately, this is a little bit bigger one, but, it sounds like you're handling it fairly well, talking to your daughter, and I would talk to that best friend. The best friend might not know what a monster her child has turned out to be, but holy crap, whether or not it affects your friendship, yeah, you confront her and be like, hey, this is what's happening. If your son comes near my daughter at all, any communication, no, absolutely not. Also, I'm going to call the police, just so you're aware. Like, I hate all of that. Please be safe out there, folks. Don't get involved with people who like minors. You're just not good. Ugh. Story 4. Today, I effed up by telling my US girlfriend that she wasn't Irish. My UK girlfriend, USA, has ancestry from Ireland from when they came over 170 years ago during the Irish potato famine. So far as I can tell, whoever that person was must have been the last person from her family to have stepped foot in Ireland. Closest any of them have ever been to Ireland was when her grandfather went to fight in Vietnam. Nonetheless, her family are mighty proud of their Irish heritage. They name a clan and talk about their tartans and some other stuff that I've never heard Emerald Isle folks actually talking about. Anyway, I know how most people from Ireland appear to react when it comes to this stuff. To cut a long story short, Irish people in Ireland don't exactly consider Irish Americans to be Irish. I made the cardinal sin of thinking it would be a good idea to mention this. I tried to tell her that people from Ireland like to joke about Irish Americans. For example, one I heard recently, how do you pee off an American? Tell them they're not Irish. She didn't react too well to this, like I just uttered a horrendous slight against the good name of herself, her heritage, and her family. I tried to deflect and say things like, it's not me, it's how people in Ireland see it, but it didn't help much, to be honest. I effed up even more, though. I tried to de-escalate and make her not feel so bad about it by saying things like, it doesn't really matter where you're from and stuff. Borders are just imaginary lines anyway, things like that. She was still peed, and that's when I said, maybe it's like an identity thing. How do you feel about yourself, and how you want to represent yourself is up to you. She hit the roof. She took it being like I was comparing it to trans issues and implying that she wasn't a real Irish person. She's fine now. She knows deep down it's not really important that I'd feel the same way about her no matter where she's from. I said to her that the mainlanders would probably accept her if she could drink the locals under the table, and gave a long speech about how much she hates the British. I'm sure she'll get her citizenship in no time. Note, neither myself nor my girlfriend hold any resentment or animosity towards the transgender or larger LGBTQ community. We're both allies on the top, and the topic arose as a result of me implying that she was transracial. So, this is an issue that I do find interesting, because there are certain communities in America that are extremely invested in their heritage. And I think you see a lot of it with the Irish community, the Irish American community, really, and the Italian American community, which is a community that I had a lot of very close interaction with personally. And they do like to just say, I'm Irish, I'm Italian and stuff, but really, you're so many generations removed from that country that you're really your own thing. And I think it's fine to be proud of your heritage and where you come from, The Irish American community is, like they have a lot of their own ideas and stuff, or they've kind of developed their own culture. I have a friend who is, Irish American. His family's very into it. I love that stuff. I've loved, seeing the stuff that they do or whatever. And, like I said, a lot of my very close family, Italian American, it's step family. I know you're going to say I don't look it, but that's beyond the point. They were family to me, okay? And yeah, they would talk about being Italian. They have a lot of their own traditions that probably aren't the same as those in Italy, I'm sure, even though my great-grandma, she came right over from Italy and she's amazing. But I do think it's also wise of them, or, realistic of them to realize, but you're not Irish, you're not Italian. You're Irish American and Italian American, and that's something to be proud of in its own self. You have your own micro communities within America that are so rich in a blended culture, the culture that your people brought over and the culture you've developed here, and that's wonderful. And I think, addressing those people, I would never have said to any of my family, well, you're not actually Italian, though. You're Italian American. I don't know that we have to argue those semantics, and I think it's fine that they want to be into that heritage, but I suppose if they took it too far, then it might be well, seriously though, you're not from there, maybe you should go there, experience your heritage. I don't know. I've rambled way too long. It's an issue that I find really interesting, and I'd love to know what everyone's saying. I'm sorry I haven't been in the comments as much. I do try and jump in, read them and stuff, but I've been so overwhelmed. This thing up here, it's not always doing great. Anyway, enough rambling. Next story. Whee! Hey folks, this next story has some kind of uncomfortable, creepy vibes to it with a potential predator vibe going for it. Nothing proven necessarily, but if you're uncomfortable with that stuff, just know this is the last story of the video, so subscribe, and get out of here if you don't want to hear it, because I totally understand. Story 5. My creepy neighbor asked me in and said he would be gentle. I, 28 female, recently moved to Michigan about 6 months ago, and I love my apartment. But my downstairs neighbor, 60s male, is creepy. There are 4 units per building, 2 floors. He lives in the first floor unit in front of the main entrance to the building, and his window overlooks directly to my parking spot. Initially, he would occasionally try and be helpful when I was carrying my bike or heavy stuff upstairs. He would buzz the door open when I had my hands full. I never accepted his help. I just politely said, "No thank you," and moved on. This past month, it has escalated. He started going out of his unit when I was entering the building to say hi and invite me in. I always said, "No thank you," and moved on. Never stopped for small talk, didn't even know his name. About 2 weeks ago, I received 2 large packages. He then got inside the building and into his apartment. When I was entering the building, he came out of his unit carrying my 2 boxes. He said he got them because it was raining. I said thank you and to please give them to me. He did not. He said they were heavy and he would walk them to my door. I said no, I could take them, but he said he would not hand them over unless he walked me upstairs. I was very uncomfortable but accepted because I just wanted him to go away. When we were upstairs, he would not hand them over until I opened my door. Then he left. I talked to the apartment manager to see what could be done and if I could transfer to another unit if needed. They said they already know who he is and has been living there for a long time, and that I could transfer units if needed. From their response, I got the impression something like this had happened before. I did not see him for a week. Then he asked me 2 days ago, but I declined. Today, he again asked me in and I said no. He said it would be fun and he would be gentle. I'm now freaking out. I don't want to move, but this is just getting worse. Is there anything legally that could be done in my favor? So, right off the bat, nothing proven about this guy. Maybe he is completely harmless. There are lots of older people, especially when they start getting into their 60s, 70s, 80s and stuff, where they've lost contact with a lot of friends and maybe family, and frankly just want someone to talk to, They live for conversation. They want to invite you over. I had a neighbor like this when I was in my early 20s. It was an older lady in her 70s. She loved my roommate and I. We lived right across the hall, and any chance she got, she would try and stop us and talk, offered us coffee at times or whatever. Very, very sweet and well-meaning, even though, from our perspective, it'd be why the hell does she want to talk so much? We're both 22, 23, and it's this is a little much. She was just lonely. And that might be what's going on here, which I want to have some sympathy for that. But at the same time, when someone is refusing that, you got to respect that. I'm sorry. I know it might be lonely and, I feel some sympathy if this is just, genuinely an old guy wanting to talk. But And, you know, and you're saying, well, what about the comment he made about it would be fun and he would be gentle? That might have been his idea of, like, cracking a joke to break the ice or something, you know? Like, people saying, like, hey, don't worry, I don't bite. But boy, oh boy, I don't think he quite knows how to read the room, if that's the case. And so, people need to respect that. The alternative is, he is a predator. And this is frightening, and I hope this person is carrying mace or something and gets away and protects herself because, oh my gosh, folks, please, please, please protect yourself out there. And don't just go into someone's house if you've got a bad vibe just because you maybe feel bad for them, okay? Like, trust your gut. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.